Like a ghost town, how short-term rentals dim New Orleans' legacy. As rentals with companies such as Airbnb proliferate in the area, raising rent and property taxes, officials are enacting laws to protect residents. New Orleans' dream is regarded as the nation's, but some of its residents, like Daryl Durham, now say that legacy is fading quickly. In recent years, short-term rentals with companies such as Airbnb proliferated and now operate on about 45% of the historic Faubourg Treme district's parcels. Resulting rent in now Treme now moves in an unnatural rhythm. For about half of
Raindrops, truck top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.